Welcome back to the English Daily Podcast. I am Anna, and today we are talking about urban gardening. If you live in a city, you may think gardening is only for people with big yards, but that is not true. You can grow herbs, vegetables, and flowers on a balcony, a windowsill, or even on a small rooftop. It is a practical and relaxing way to bring a little nature into daily life.
I like that idea already. Urban gardening sounds hopeful. When I hear the word gardening, I imagine green leaves, fresh tomatoes, and a quiet morning with coffee. But I also imagine dirt, tools, and a lot of work. Is it hard to start if you are a complete beginner?
It can be simple if you start small. That is the first important tip. Do not try to grow everything at once. Start with 1 or 2 easy plants, like basil, mint, lettuce, or cherry tomatoes. In English, we often say start small when we want to begin with a manageable step. Manageable means not too difficult to handle. A small success gives you confidence.
So the goal is not to create a perfect garden in one weekend. The goal is to learn gradually. I like that. What is the first thing I should think about before I buy plants?
Think about sunlight. Sunlight means how much direct light your space gets during the day. This is a key vocabulary word for gardening, because plants need different amounts of light. Some plants need full sun, which means many hours of direct sunlight. Others prefer partial shade, which means some sun and some protection. If your balcony is shady, choose shade-tolerant plants instead of sun-loving ones.
That is useful. So I should observe my space before I shop. If I understand the conditions, I can choose the right plant. That sounds a lot like choosing the right app or tool for a job. Match the tool to the task.
Exactly. Another important word is container. A container is anything that holds soil and plants, like a pot, box, or bucket. Container gardening is perfect for cities because you do not need a yard. You can also move containers around if the light changes. If a plant is not doing well in one spot, you can experiment and find a better place.
I love the word experiment there. Gardening is a little like science. You test, observe, and adjust. If I water too much, the plant may suffer. If I water too little, it may wilt. By the way, wilt means to droop because of lack of water, right?
Yes, exactly. Wilt means to lose firmness and look tired or soft. And that leads to another practical skill, learning how to water properly. Many beginners think more water is always better, but too much water can be harmful. It can cause root rot, which means the roots begin to decay because they stay too wet. A good tip is to touch the soil before watering. If the top feels dry, it may be time to water. If it still feels damp, wait.
That is a great tip. So gardening teaches patience. You do not panic every time the plant looks different. You check first. Are there other low-cost ways to begin urban gardening?
Yes. You can reuse items instead of buying everything new. For example, you can use old containers, wooden boxes, or recycled jars if they have drainage holes. Drainage means the water can flow out instead of staying at the bottom. Drainage is important because most plants do not like soggy roots. Reusing items is also sustainable, which means it helps the environment by reducing waste.
Sustainable is a great word. It means something can continue without causing harm. I notice gardening and sustainability go together naturally. You grow food, reduce packaging, and maybe even cut down on store trips.
Exactly. And if you grow herbs or vegetables, you get to harvest them. Harvest means to collect crops when they are ready. There is something satisfying about harvesting basil for pasta or mint for tea. It gives you a sense of connection to your food. Even a few leaves can make a meal feel special.
That sounds rewarding. I can imagine saying, I grew this myself, and feeling proud. Pride is a nice feeling when it comes from effort and care. But what if someone does not have much time? Can urban gardening still work for a busy person?
Yes, definitely. Choose low-maintenance plants. Low maintenance means they do not need a lot of attention. Succulents, snake plants, basil, green onions, and lettuce can be good choices, depending on your light. Another useful phrase is drought tolerant. Drought-tolerant plants can survive with less water. That does not mean no water, but it means they are more forgiving if you forget once in a while.
Forgiving is a nice way to describe plants. Some plants are like patient teachers. They do not punish you immediately for mistakes. I think beginners need that kind of encouragement.
They do. And if you want healthier plants, think about soil. Soil is the earth or growing material that supports roots. Good soil gives plants nutrients, which are the substances living things need to grow. Sometimes people add compost, which is decomposed organic material. Compost helps soil stay rich and healthy. In simple terms, it is like natural food for the garden.
I have heard the word compost many times, but I never explained it clearly before. So food scraps and plant waste can become something useful again. That is a powerful idea. Waste can turn into value.
Yes, and that idea connects to another important vocabulary word, recycle. In gardening, many people recycle containers, water carefully, and even use leftover vegetable scraps to regrow plants. For example, you can place the bottom of a green onion in water and watch it grow again. It is a simple project that feels almost magical.
That is so interesting. It makes me think urban gardening is not only about food. It is also about curiosity and observation. You notice small changes every day. A new leaf, a stronger stem, a brighter color. By the way, what is a stem?
The stem is the main support part of a plant that connects the roots and leaves. If you know basic plant parts like roots, stems, leaves, and flowers, you can understand gardening instructions more easily. This is a helpful strategy for English learners too. When you learn everyday vocabulary in context, you remember it better than if you just memorize a long list.
That makes sense. Context is everything. If I learn the word stem while looking at a real plant, the meaning becomes clearer. So urban gardening can actually help with English practice too.
Absolutely. You can describe your routine in English as well. For example, you might say, I water my plants every morning, or I check the soil in the evening. Routine is a great vocabulary word here. It means a regular pattern or habit. Creating a routine helps both you and the plant stay healthy.
I like habits that are simple and calming. Water, check, observe, repeat. That sounds peaceful. But I have a question. What if pests appear? Pests are insects or animals that damage plants, right?
Yes, pests are living things that harm plants or crops. If you see small holes in leaves or tiny insects, do not panic. First, identify the problem. Then look for gentle solutions, like washing leaves, removing damaged parts, or using natural pest control. Control means managing the problem, not necessarily eliminating every insect in the world. Balance is important.
Balance is a good word for life and gardening. Too much water is bad. Too little light is bad. Too much panic is bad. Gardening seems to teach emotional skills too.
It really does. It teaches patience, observation, and resilience. Resilience means the ability to recover after difficulty. If a plant struggles, you learn, adjust, and try again. That is why many people find gardening calming. It gives you a sense of progress that is small but real.
I think that is why people enjoy it in cities. City life can feel fast and noisy, but a small garden creates a quiet corner of attention. You slow down and notice life growing. It is almost a form of mindfulness.
That is a beautiful way to say it. Mindfulness means paying full attention to the present moment. When you care for plants, you focus on what is happening now instead of worrying about everything at once. And for learners, that focus can be a great language practice tool too. You can label your plants, say the names out loud, and even write a short journal in English.
That sounds practical. I could write one sentence a day: the basil looks strong today, or the soil is dry, so I watered the plant. Small sentences, big learning. I like that.
Exactly. And if you want a final beginner strategy, choose plants you actually enjoy using. If you cook pasta, grow basil. If you like tea, grow mint. If you love salads, try lettuce or spinach. When the plant connects to your daily life, you are more likely to care for it consistently.
That is a smart point. The best garden is the one you will actually maintain. So to recap, start small, check sunlight, use containers with drainage, water carefully, and choose easy plants. Learn words like sunlight, container, drainage, compost, and harvest, and use them in real life.
Perfect recap, Jake. Urban gardening can save money, reduce waste, improve your mood, and give you useful English vocabulary at the same time. If you remembered just one thing, remember this: a small space is still enough to grow something meaningful. Thanks for listening to the English Daily Podcast, and if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe for more clear and practical English practice every day.